Hey, it's Tanya Taylor of Grow Your Wealth TV, and this is the third video in the video series on retirement. If you have not already done so, you can check out my very first video, which talks about the difference between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA and which one may be most appropriate for you. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what you should be doing as you are in your 40s and planning for retirement, or just planning for your long-term goal if you don't want to call it retirement. I decided to do this video series because there was a study that was done by Fidelity which shows that most Americans are unprepared for retirement, and they won't even be able to cover their basic needs like food, shelter, clothing, medication. So I thought it was important to really talk about this on my channel. If you're not familiar with my channel, it's really about teaching you how to grow your wealth. It covers most personal finance topic, which includes budgeting, demolishing debt, investing, and obviously preparing yourself for the longer term. I have lots of really great contents on my channel. Please feel free to check out my current videos and like and subscribe. Share it with your friends so that you guys can all really put to use this great information that you can use on your investing journey. Time goes by really fast, and if you have no plans about how you are going to prepare for your future, suddenly you hit 40 and you are in a panic. And I have had many people call me in a panic because they have children going off to college, or they're thinking about, can I retire? When can I retire? And am I going to be able to retire? So they literally have the same problems that are being spoken about in this Fidelity study. And that's why I felt like it was important for me to cover this topic in depth in the different series, talking to different people at different ages. So for many of us, our late 30s and our 40s is where we're going to be making a large portion of our income. And we have to really be strategic about what we do with that income, especially if in our 30s and 20s we had not started saving or we had accumulated a large amount of debt. So I'm going to talk about the 5 things that you need to start doing now in your 40s. And I would also say don't panic, because if you panic, it's not really going to change the situation. But take this information and use it to empower you so that you can know what the next right step is, and then just keep moving forward instead of feeling paralyzed. So the very first thing that I would say to you is to get educated. If you want to do it on your own, that's fine. It might take you longer, but you want to start going out there and getting all the books that you need and watching the videos that you need. Another way that you can is to hire a financial coach. The financial coach will work with you to understand your specific financial need and help you to develop that roadmap or blueprint that's going to get you to where you need to be. And your coach will work with you to help you to become accountable and also to be realistic. Whereas with a financial planner, one of the biggest thing with a financial planner is that a lot of times your financial plan is not customized. It's literally just put in a system and it spits things out. And so you don't have as much control over what you're investing in. And then you have to pay a financial planner every single year 1 or 2% of your portfolio value. So let's say you haven't really invested yet and you're just starting out. At the end of the year, if you've invested 10,000, you're going to have to pay 1% of that. And while it might not sound like a lot, over time it really adds up. And then if there is a bad year and you actually have not made any gains in your account in that year, you still have to pay the financial planner. So there is a big difference between a financial planner and a financial coach, and you have to make a decision about which one you want to work with. That said, though, if you feel more comfortable, like, you know what, I just want to work with a financial planner, then you go ahead and work with a financial planner. Again, as I said, you just want to get moving and make sure that you're planning for your retirement so that you're not putting the burden on your children if you have children, or so that you just sort of don't know what's going to happen when you get to that age where you're supposed to retire. So I give this advice, which is number two, to any age group, and that is to get out of debt. There are some habits that we develop over our lifetime where we think that debt is okay. When you get to your 40s, it becomes even more critical that you are not accumulating a lot of debt and holding on to it. So you want to find ways to make sure that you're eliminating that debt. We're in a low interest rate environment right now. So if you have a home, you want to think about whether or not refinancing is a good option. You want to be very responsible when you're making these decisions to know that you're making it for the right reason. But if you have very high balances on your credit card, or you still have student loan that you're carrying and the balances are very high, and you have a home with equity in it, you could either refinance a home, or you might want to take out a home equity loan and just say to yourself, okay, or work with your financial coach and say, okay, we're going to make a 5 year plan and we're going to consolidate all our debt and we're going to pay it off in 5 years. And then we're going to use that money and start dumping it into our savings. I do want to say a couple things about the mortgage because you also need to understand that if you were to go the route where you're going to take a new mortgage because of the low interest rate, the length of time that you're going to be holding the mortgage for might be longer. So you might be one of those people who do not want to have a mortgage in retirement. So that's one of the key consideration that you'll have to make if you really want to go the route of refinancing your home. So that's the way that you have to strategically start thinking about how you're going to do all of this stuff. But work on getting out of debt and work on staying out of debt at this age. Number three is to diversify your investment strategy. Now, don't run out and start to invest in really risky investment vehicle. You want to be very careful about this. So you're still in your 40s, you can still have a large portion of your portfolio in stocks, but you want to make sure that you're pretty clear about the risks that's associated with each investment type. I do talk about mutual funds, index funds, and exchange traded fund in this video. You can check it out to get a better understanding of which one works best for you. And then you can actually learn about investing in the stock market. There's a lot of gains to be made in the stock market, but you also just want to weigh the risk and rewards of each of those investment type. And then if you don't own real estate, that's another area that you want to look into because you can use real estate for two purposes. You can purchase it now with the intention of selling it later on for, and then you would get the gain from the price appreciation of this real estate for when you're older, that you can use that towards your retirement. Or you can decide to purchase real estate and get rental income that you can use as a constant stream of income during your retirement. Of course, if you decide to go that route, you have to know that there can be headaches that come with tenants. So you're going to have to be willing to also take that on. Now, don't forget to share this with your friends. So comment below. Tell me what other information you would find useful as you plan your retirement journey. Number four is max out your retirement plan. You don't have as much time as when you were in your 30s or in your 20s. So you want to save as much as you can. If your employer offers a 401k plan, you want to think about whether or not you want to put all your money in that 401k plan, or whether or not, depending on your income, it makes sense to put some in a retirement plan, such as a Roth IRA or even an IRA, because you have more control. So that's all going to be decisions that you need to make. But at a minimum, you want to invest the amount that your employer is matching, because if you don't do that, you are walking away from money that could add up over time. Now, don't forget to share, because imagine if you all just make this plan to really prepare yourself for retirement and decide to retire together and travel the world or start your passion projects during retirement or even retiring early. Those are some of the things that you really want to open yourself up to as you plan for the next journey of your life, because retirement doesn't mean that you go and sit in a rocking chair and stay home. It's just really another path in your life and having that financial freedom to be able to do that. At least that's the way I look at retirement. Number five, this is so critical in your 40s if it's not already in place, and that is getting insurance. And this is one of those things that I tell people at any age, but even when they're younger, I really recommend that they get insurance so that they can lock in the good rate. In your 40s, insurance gets a little bit more expensive, but it's so important that you have it that you're just going to have to make the decision that you're going to pay the extra. If you have a family, that you want to make sure that they have some sort of protection if something were to happen to you, or if you have a charity that you want to leave money to. Now, please do not buy into this craziness that you should buy term and invest the rest, because if you do that, you may end up being having no insurance when you really need it. Also, think about in your 40s, a lot of times you hear people say they hit 40 and this start breaking down on their body or that start breaking down, and you could become uninsurable. As soon as you watch this video, if you don't have the right type of insurance, start getting educated about it, because you don't want to just go out and start talking to an agent and they give you like bad information. You want to have some frame of reference and some type of knowledge before you talk to them, because you want to be able to drive the conversation. If you have a financial coach, you can work with them. The insurance should be an overall part of your wealth roadmap. Or if you're doing it on your own, you also just want to make sure that you have some education on how you should have those conversations with the agents. I also just want to stress that insurance doesn't always mean just life insurance. There are also other type of insurance. So there's long-term disability, because your employer might not offer full 100% salary and you don't want to become disabled and don't have enough money to meet all of your financial needs. The one other point that I want to make about insurance too is never, ever, ever rely on your employer's life insurance, because if you stop working for that employer for whatever reason, you're not going to have insurance. And that's why it's important that you have your own insurance on top of what the employer offers. Now, there's also long term care insurance, which is really important and something else that you want to look into and see how much you can get. I know that long term care has changed a lot over the past few years, so you want to look to see how much of that you can get so that you can have that tucked away for when you need it, or hopefully you'll never need it. But that's the thing with insurance, right? Hopefully you'll never need it, but at least you'll have it. One thing that I don't want to take for granted is that you know that you need to have your estate planning documents in place. So on my website, I created a blog which talks about 4 must-have documents for your estate plan. I would recommend that you check that out. There are other documents that are required, but that's a good start. And by the time you hit 40, especially if you have a family, you want to make sure that you have some type of estate planning document in place. All right, tell me all about whether or not you have insurance, or whether or not these 5 things that I've just talked about are helpful to you as you plan your journey. I also do want to share with you that I have a wealth roadmap on my website, which I put in the link below. It gives you guidelines on things that you should consider as you are planning your financial goals long term. Go ahead and download it and start using that ebook to your advantage until you are ready to take the next step of hiring a financial coach, or use it while you are teaching yourself about how to prepare long term for your retirement. I hope this video was helpful to you. Hop over to my Facebook page and join my group. Get involved in the conversation. You can also find me on Instagram. All the links are below. I have lots of information that will be very valuable to you as you start or as you continue through this investing journey. And I will see you in another video.